Do not sing copyrighted songs at the start of a show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Studio Live today and GarageBand Weekly for another week. This is our live show right here on Studio Live today about nothing but GarageBand. So for the next 30 minutes, buckle in, get yourself a beverage, have some breakfast if you're me, or if you're here in Australia, because it is Monday morning. It'll be Sunday night for you folks in the UK and Europe, and it's going to be Sunday afternoon if you're in the US and Canada. My camera's a little low there, so we're just going to shimmy that sucker up. I did a live show yesterday, and I was showing the guitar and the keyboard, so I wanted to have a different view. But now that it's back to a talk show format, I can put my camera back up here. You don't need to see my tummy. Yes, I said tummy. That's I have children. But welcome to the folks who are here live. We will get started with the show proper in just a few moments. I'm just going to get us all set up and ready to rock and roll here, which should only take me a couple of minutes, and it will give you folks a chance to come on in, to settle in, and to come into the live stream here, and then we will indeed get started. I hope you are having a good weekend, a creative weekend, getting some things done wherever you are in the world, and however you are impacted or influenced by outside events, then yeah, hopefully you are just safe and well and doing the best that you can in these strange, unprecedented times. That is the word that the media continue to use despite me asking them not to. So these are unprecedented times. We are going to get in and talk GarageBand. We're going to talk about an app of the week, a rant of the week, a tip of the week. We do all sorts of things on this show. If it's your first time here and you like GarageBand and home studio and mobile studio and other creative endeavors, consider subscribing and head over to the website studiolivetoday.com. That is the place on the interwebs where you can catch up with everything that I do. I'm trying to find my theme music that I use here. I'm super low tech sometimes with the way I do things here. Oh, I can't even get my keyboard working. We'll just bring it up here. We'll just try a different method, shall we? Again, not as organized as I should be. Yesterday, I was super proud that I was actually organized and had everything ready to go at the start of the show. Today, not so much. And I have two shows to do today, so go figure. This could be a sign of things to come. What you're in for if you're going to hang out with me for the morning. There's my song. Cool, that's working. All right, that is fine. And Dandy, who's here? Hello. We've got Benedict Stewart has jumped in early. Mr. Alex Backus says he's just joined Facebook to join the Facebook group. I did say that in a recent show. I said even if you're not a Facebook user, I would join Facebook just to be part of the Facebook groups, because there's some epic groups including GarageBand users and of course Create, Record, Release, the official group of Studio Live today. Corner Cutter Studio is here. Hello to you. Hello to everyone. SM Borthwick, Jeff Brush, Gary Knight, Darren Daniluk. How did that go? I'll give it another go when we get to the next one. We've got Lutch Vegas here. Thank you for being here. LTL Brown, good to have you here from Milton Keynes in England. Is that the place that has the big concrete cows? Am I making that up? Did I have a fever dream that was a thing? Tom Rochelle, hello to you. Mark Guest, who's joining us from Aylesbury. We've got Jan Bosch is here. We've got, who else? Jade Starr is here, of course. Thomas Gallane. I was trying to think of your name the other day, Thomas. You probably, if you saw the video, I did the interview on Jade's channel. I was trying to remember who put me onto the Ravenscroft 275. It was this guy right here, Thomas. He put me on to Ravenscroft 275. So thank you for that, because now my favorite piano. Hello to the GHS 1962. Hello to Six String Gunner. Looking forward to the show. Good to have you here, my friend. And I got it. Daniluk. Okay, I just remember need not to put any I's or U sounds. No E's or I's or U's, just Daniluk. And we'll go with that and hope that we're close enough to it. Alrighty, let's get ourselves set up here. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we will have my notes here ready to go so we can talk about everything happening in the GarageBand world. And of course, as always, if you have your own questions, if you have your own comments, your own things you want to add, please drop those down in the chat as we go along. If you put question in front of it, I'll be able to see that it is a question. Where's my little thing that tells you what to do? Yeah, got a question? Put question in your comment and I'll be able to see your question a lot more easily. Who else has snuck in here? We've got Soul Rack How are you, my friend? Hope you're doing well. And Danny Boderick says, "You've really helped me with GarageBand." Well, that is my main aim. That is my goal. So always good to hear. Alrighty. Okay. Let's get on with this, and we'll pause for just a second. I'll hit the theme music, and then next time you hear me, we'll be recording the show that will become the final show. Let's do this. Yes, welcome back to GarageBand Weekly, our weekly show about nothing but GarageBand. It's all GarageBand all the time. My name is Pete, and this is Studio Live Today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And one of the platforms I use more than any is GarageBand on my iPhone and iPad. But of course, you can also use GarageBand on your Mac if you are so inclined and lucky enough to have yourself a Mac. Hello to the folks who are watching live on YouTube and Facebook. If you are here live and you've got comments or questions as we go through the show, please put question in front. If it's a question, drop it in the chat. Watching on the replay, no problem. We love you just as much. Just throw a comment down below. Myself and the wonderful Studio Live Today community are always down there having a chat. What have we got coming up on the show? Well, we're going to talk some iOS 14 rumors, because who doesn't like a good rumor? We've got my rant of the week's going to be about promotion and maybe some unscrupulous folks who you need to look out for on the internet. And tip of the week is going to be about monitoring without a headphone jack. What do you do if you've got no headphone jack? What are some options that you have for being able to monitor your audio and listen using a real set of headphones when you don't have a jack? All of that and more coming up. But for now, let's jump into the news and notes for the last week as they relate to GarageBand and music creation. So, iOS 14. So there's a few rumors floating around. Now, due to current world situations, Apple have been thrown a bit of a curveball, as has everyone else in the world, let's be honest. So their normal routine, at the moment, they would be preparing for WWDC. They'd have some nice shiny announcements. The iPhone 12 is being rumored to be coming later this year. And depending on the source that you read and listen to, there's different things about this. So whether the new phone will be announced in June, whether iOS 14 will be announced in June, when the phone will be available, will it be September? Will it be later in the year? Will they push it even earlier? We just don't know at this stage. And there's plenty of speculation and not a whole lot of information. So what does that mean, and what should you care about? Well, it means that, yes, we do have a new phone. If you're an iPhone 10 user like myself, I'm not upgrading to the iPhone 11. I tend to skip a cycle, and I'm usually one behind, in fact, a lot of the time. So I will not be getting an 11, and, cut to 3 months' time where Pete's too tired of waiting for the iPhone 12 and goes and buys an 11. But I don't have plans to go to the 11 at this stage. I'll be waiting on the 12 and seeing what that does. iOS 14, though. The interesting thing will be, what hardware will it support? Will it still support old stuff like the classic iPhone 6S, which you can see is gathering dust here? Or will you need more up-to-date hardware to run iOS 14? That'll be the sort of interesting thing for a lot of music creators. I know a lot of folks are still using things like iPad Air 2, iPhone 6S because of the headphone jack situation we'll talk about later. So are they going to be compatible? And what is iOS 14 actually going to bring for music creators? Because there's been a lot of talk and speculation about updates to the home screen, ability to finally do some like custom editing of your home screen buttons, changing of the default app. So when you actually open music, if you're a Spotify user, it actually opens in Spotify instead of going into Apple Music and saying, would you like 3 months free of Apple Music? And you're like, no, I have Google Play or I have Spotify. So those things might be interesting, but so far there's been no killer feature. There's no dark mode, not that that was a killer feature, but no USB file support, none of the big stuff that actually had a significant impact as iOS 13 did. I have linked, I will link, if you're watching on the replay, down in the description. There's a cool video done by CNET. I like CNET, I like the work they do, which is an iOS 14 rumors video. If you want to get up to date, check that one out. What else is in the news and notes? Well, if you're an iOS user, we're iOS-centric this week in the news and notes. There is a very cool new free audio unit plugin / app. And I know every time I say the words audio unit plugin and free, everyone gets super excited. And sometimes the quality of these free audio unit plugins and apps is great, and sometimes not so great. This time it's great. It's by Audio Kit. If you know Audio Kit, you know Synth One, you know a lot of the great work that they do. Guess what? They got a new piano. It's called the Retro Piano. It's 100% free. It sounds awesome. It's got a bunch of presets as well as a bunch of flexibility to create your own sounds. And because it's Audio Unit V3, it means you can actually use it right here. And you can see here, I've been playing with it this morning. The good thing is that you can actually edit the notes. So unlike an audio, what's that one? Interrupt audio, interrupt audio will give you like a waveform like that. You can't edit it. As soon as you've got an AUV3 plugin, it'll put it in those nice green MIDI notes. It means you can drag them from other tracks. It means that you can edit your notes. You can change them around. And then if you want to change the actual piano sound, you can come straight back out there and you've got full access there to the piano. Also a standalone app so you can play. There it is. Or you can also play around with it as a standalone app if, like me, you do things like I did yesterday, and that is play live using your iPad or your iPhone as your instrument. So very, very cool. I know a lot of people are excited about it. Pretty sure Patrick did a video on it. I know Doug over at Sound Test Room would have done a video on it. So yeah, if you want to learn more about that, go and check it out. Search Retro Piano. It's free. Download it. News and notes number 3. I wanted to give a shout out to Jade Starr, who many of you here on the channel will know, has just started a new series called How to App, which is super cool. So every day she's spending 20 minutes and she's doing something with an app. Now, the reason I love this is that there's different videos about apps, right? There's some people that will do videos where it's a review of the app, where they'll just tinker around with it and play with it and not actually do anything. They're like, here's a cool sound, blurb, here's a cool sound, blurb. And by the way, when I say people, I'm pointing to this guy too. And then there's sort of more in-depth stuff where, you know, I do a lot of this thing where I'll show an app and I'll create something, but sometimes it's a bit long-winded and I might spend an hour on a live stream playing with an app. Why I like Jade's concept is 20 minutes, one app, one task, getting it done. So far she's used Grand Finale to master my new EP, which was very, very cool to watch. The first episode is completely spacing on. No, I've lost it. There you go. You can go. This will give you a chance to go and explore it. But today she's looking at Music Studio, which is an app that I've never used. So I'm actually intrigued. And that will be happening right after this show. So if you're watching live, you'll be able to check that one out in 17 minutes time. If you're watching on the replay, you can jump back on over and check that out. Head over to Jade Starr's channel. Just search that on YouTube. JEDESTARR. That is the news and notes for this week. We will move on from there. We'll just check in actually with the folks who are here live, see if we have anyone here. We do have Jade here. Of course she's here. She's preparing for her show in 20 minutes, but also here helping moderate the channel as well. She's thrown a link to the new retro piano that is right there. 1000 Watts says, hey Pete, didn't see this live stream was happening, but I'm happy to be here now. Yeah, that does happen from time to time, but I'm glad that you are here. Appreciate you. Just see if we've got any questions. Got lots of folks who are here. Lots of folks here live having a chat here, but no specific questions. So if you do have anything or any comments that you want to throw out, please do so and we will get that happening. Let's have a rant, shall we? Again, every week I do the show, I'm like, I need some stings. I need a soundboard with like rant of the week. Because clearly I can't sing it live because I choke on my own words. See, I'm getting so fired up. I've started choking before I even start talking. Let's have a quick... It's the problem when you're hosting a show where it's just by yourself. Like if I've got a co-host, I can just sort of throw my volume down and go, and then come back and no one even notices, except you do. Rant of the week. I wanted to talk about promises of promotion and the fact that when you have anything, so when you have a community, when you have online groups, when you have anything where there's an opportunity for people to take advantage of people, guess what? The 1% DF, you can think to yourself what the D factor stands for. The 1% D factor comes into play, which is that 99% of people are good, are kind, are caring, show humility, and have respect for their fellow individual. 1% of people, and it might not even be 1%, or it might be more. Anyway, I just go with the 1% DF, are not. And it means that you do have to look out for things. So for music in particular, there is a trend, a disturbing trend, and I wanted to talk about it here. And let me know if you've experienced this yourself or if it's affected you. And it is of people jumping onto SoundCloud, to YouTube, to Facebook groups, and doing things like this. It's like, hey, I've got 1 million subs. Drop your links here and I'll promote your music. Or the worst ones are, hey man, that's fire. I'd like to produce your track. Send your stuff to me and I'll help you out. Now, yes, there are people who legitimately, genuinely want to help people. And you might think, Pete, it's a bit hypocritical, buddy. You're about to do a Your Music live show where you're playing and reviewing the music of Studio Live Today viewers. Difference being that I'm promising you nothing. I'm promising you that I'll play your song on my show and we'll have a chat about it. And hopefully, I'll give you a few tips that might help you make it better. But what I hate is what I'm really getting under my skin is these promises of promotion, of getting on Spotify playlists, of pushing you into this amazing marketplace of millions of listeners that no one knew about. Really, like, it's not going to happen. Like, I don't mean to be a downer, and I don't mean to say that you can't get successful with your music. Of course you can, but it's not easy, and it's not a matter of just the right person putting you in the right playlist at the right time. It is generally 99% of the time, it is that you have to work at it, you have to grind, you have to create, you have to record, you have to release, you have to repeat. And you have to do that for a while until you get a song that actually resonates with people. And then the people organically will go, hey, this is genuinely a really good song. But if it, so I guess the warning I'll give you is if you're seeing that, if you're either getting unsolicited private messages or you're seeing these posts in groups, take them with a grain, shaker, or perhaps entire like mill of salt. Like, you know those big salt flats or those big mountains of salt that you have? Yeah, take it with some salt, and be careful. Like with everything online and with anything in life, if it's too good to be true, if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is. And that's not to be a downer and say that you can't share your music and you can't have fun online with music. You absolutely can. And some folks will be successful with music, but it is rarely because they put a random link in some dude's Facebook post where he said, here, I'll get you airplay on some random playlist. Anyway, if your experience is different to that, if you have had success with that, please let me know, because maybe I'm missing the boat here. Maybe these things are actually working, but like the sub for sub and like for like, I've got a feeling that it's just a small group of people that are just, not actually making any traction and getting any leverage. Let me know what you think of that. What have we got? What's next on the list here? It is our tip of the week. So I did promise this at the start. What can you do if you don't have a headphone jack in your iPhone? How do you monitor audio? I get this question a heap, and I thought I would cover it here because for GarageBand iOS users, it is a big problem. And on the newer iPads, we don't have a headphone jack either. We've got a USB-C connection. So, excuse me. Let's talk Lightning to start with. If you've got a Lightning-based iPhone that doesn't have a headphone jack and you want to monitor, probably the easiest way is, and it is expensive, but Apple actually sell, I don't have it handy here, it's sitting upstairs in my bedroom, Apple sell their genuine dock. So the Apple Lightning dock plugs in there, you get the ability to then plug in a Lightning device, which can be also data, and a headphone jack. So it basically just adds in the headphone jack that we should have had here, but it does mean you have to dock your phone. If you're using it horizontally, it's a bit clunky and awkward. I don't love it as a solution, but it is definitely the easiest, most reliable way to get yourself a headphone jack in here. There are devices like the Belkin Rockstar, which I've used, and more generic devices that do provide you with a Lightning port and a headphone jack. But the problem with those is the Lightning port is only for power. So what you can't do is plug in, say, a MIDI keyboard and then have your headphones plugged in as well. The Lightning port in those devices is only power. It won't let you actually do that. What other options do we have? Well, you can plug in through a Lightning to USB 3 adapter and into an audio interface. So I've got mine down here. It's plugged in, so I can't show you like I usually do. But if you've got a Focusrite, Behringer, Steinberg, any USB audio interface, you can plug that in, and then you can use the headphone jack on your audio interface as your monitoring port. So you can actually monitor your audio that way. If you've got, say, if you want a MIDI keyboard and you want to monitor that at the same time, you'll need a powered USB hub. So that's why, this is the reasons why I say there's two things that you get to help your setup, whether you've got USB mics or MIDI keyboards or audio interfaces, it is two things. It's a powered USB hub and it's a Lightning to USB 3 adapter, the genuine Apple version that will do you good for a long time. There's one final little device that I think is kind of cool, and that is this. If you don't want to go out and get yourself a whole audio interface, but you've got your powered USB hub, you can use something like this. This is a little, it's called the HD Sound Hub. These are all over Amazon, all over eBay. I've got a video on the channel about these as well, which I'll link down below. As you can see, these provide you with 3 USB ports and headphones, microphone, and line input device there. So it basically becomes a little sound card. It replaces the sound input and output on your device, basically creating a little mini audio interface. It's not great quality. I wouldn't record microphones on this or anything, but for monitoring audio out, it can work quite well. So if you want a cheap solution and you've got your MIDI keyboard with your Lightning to USB 3 adapter, as long as you've got a powered hub or a hub of some description, grab one of these. Plug that in. Now you'll notice I didn't mention the word Bluetooth once in all of that diatribe, and that is because Bluetooth just does not have the right lack of latency to be used at this point in time. So if you want to be monitoring audio, you need a wired headphone. Bluetooth is okay for listening to music. It's okay for even maybe a bit of mixing and mastering. But if you're recording music, if you're monitoring your music playback, Bluetooth will create too much latency. That's that lag or delay between when you hit a note or when you sing and when that audio is fed back to you. So your earpods or your AirPods, your Bluetooth speakers, anything like that, I would steer clear of. But there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. And in a future episode, we'll talk about USB-C because that's its own completely different kettle of fish. But here's the good news. Just a quick one on that. USB-C is completely standard. You don't need a special lightning adapter or anything like that to get that done. Hopefully that helped you out. Let's continue on here to talk about the plugin of the week. Now, I'm going to totally cheat here. I already talked about this in the news, but I'm loving it so much. I'm a piano guy. It is, of course, that one. It is the retro piano. Let's just bring up the actual version, the standalone retro piano version, so you can take a look. There it is, Audio Kit doing their thing. And in just a moment, loads up there. Look at that. All the dials and knobs in the world that you would want to change that in. And I love that it's got a heap of cool presets here. So you got presets here from the Fingers. You got presets here from a bunch of other folks. And some of the standard presets so you can get yourself some really cool piano sound. When I first saw this, I'm like, oh, retro piano, it's probably just going to be, 1 or 2 tones and nothing special. And then maybe you have to buy an upgrade pack to get a bunch of presets and tones and ability to change it. No, got complete control over everything. You can completely customize and dial in the tone that you're looking for. Everything from a very nice sounding, actual old sort of Casio style piano, electric piano sound, up to all sorts of crazy, wacky synths and sounds in there as well. So definitely check that one out because it's free. And who knows, what I say about free apps is even if you don't plan to use it in the near future, download it, get it in your app store because it means that you'll be able to re-download it in the future. Even if you just hit download, delete it immediately, it means that if it goes back up in price, because this thing should be a $10 app, in all honesty, it's worth it. So yeah, do download it now before it potentially goes up in price. It may not. Audio Kit are good dudes, but again, the developers that put all the time and effort and energy into these, hey, they got mouths to feed, they got bills to pay, they got rent and mortgages just like the rest of us. So sometimes they need to make themselves a little coin as well. We'll jump over and just chat to the folks here for a couple of minutes. And then we'll finish off here because, as I mentioned, Jade Star's How To App Show coming up in just 7 minutes' time. And then after that, Your Music Live, our premiere, our pilot episode of Your Music Live here on the channel. So if you're in the mood for some music this morning, afternoon, evening, jump on over to that one after Jade's show, straight after this one. Jack Smith saying that yes, it's GarageBand is good. I'd get an audio interface, absolutely. It's definitely a good thing. Good thing to do. Can I share my opinion on the Shure Motive M5 digital condenser mic? I could. I don't have one. I use an MV88, which is the little sucker that you plug into Lightning. I haven't actually tried the Motive MV5, so I'll have to take that on notice and check it out in the future, hopefully, if I have a chance to do so. Danny, hello to you, Danny Broderick. What is best to purchase with a 2018 11-inch iPad Pro, a Roland Go mixer or Focusrite Scarlett 2i2? I've been hearing really good things about the Roland Go mixer. I don't have one. I've never used one. But here's how I break it down. If you're just doing pre-recorded stuff, go for the Scarlett 2R2 because it's solid as a rock. I use a Steinberg UR22, kind of the same sort of thing. I just prefer Steinberg personally, but I'd go for an audio interface. Where a mixer comes into its own is where you're doing any sort of live streaming, live shows, live podcasting, anything like I'm doing right now. A mixer is golden because you can mix in your sources, you can make sure your panning's right. The problem with an audio interface, say you want to do a live show and you've got your 2-channel interface, a lot of apps and a lot of live streaming apps will actually put your mic on the left and your guitar on the right. So if you're trying to, or 2 mics, it'll put one on the left, one on the right. There's no way to mix down to mono within the audio interface or within the actual app. So a mixer can really help with that. Jeff Brush says, question, is the retro piano as nice as the Ravenscroft? No. No, the Ravenscroft is a $55 app here. I think it's about $30 US to buy. The retro piano is free. So the actual default piano sound, we're talking more synth piano here as opposed to the Ravenscroft, which is a actual beautifully sampled grand piano sound. So yeah, but again, you get what you pay for. So if you're looking for something that's just, if you're not doing sort of pieces with piano that you need an absolute, like, perfect warm piano sound, then the retro piano can work really, really well. Alex is now a proud member of the GarageBand Users Facebook group, and I do recommend that you head over to the GarageBand Users Facebook group if you are a GarageBand user. And I've said it plenty of times, but even if you're not into GarageBand, then yeah, I would even if you're not into Facebook, get it right, Pete. Even if you're not into Facebook, I would join up to Facebook just to join the GarageBand Users Facebook group. That would be my thing. Jeff says, I thought so, but thought to ask. Yeah, absolutely. And again, for a free app, it's awesome. It's very, very cool. Nicholas says, is GarageBand iOS enough to record and fully produce and export a professional sounding album? You be the judge. I've just released a new EP with 5 tracks, and I think it sounds pretty cool. So, and that was all done in GarageBand iOS. The thing is, I'll go on a quick mini rant, and then we'll have to finish off because we're running short on time. Mini rant here is that these days, what you plug in, so if I plug my Steinberg UR22 into my iPhone or my iPad or a Mac or a PC, I'm just recording ones and zeros. That's doing all the analog to digital conversion, and then all of that digital audio is in whatever device and whatever piece of software that I'm using. So I don't actually think that there's a much difference these days of whether you use a Mac, a PC, an iPhone, or iPad, because they're all just a processor with memory, and then the software is just whatever plugins and your ability to engineer and mix that song. So hopefully that helps you out. Righty, we are going to have to finish up. Do we have a resource of the week this week? We don't technically, so I'm just going to mention my GarageBand FAQ. If you head over to the website to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, that is my GarageBand FAQ, where you've got links to my series, such as my GarageBand Quick Jams, my GarageBand Essentials series. If you're getting started with GarageBand, that is a great place to start. And then there's a bunch of questions there. So you want to know how to automate your vocals, you want to know how to compress, you want to know how to use the merge function. All of those are there in alphabetical order. You can scroll on through that list and find what you're looking for. And if you don't, then yeah, join the GarageBand Users Facebook group and ask the wonderful folks over there for their advice and for what they think. Thank you for being here today. That is going to do it for this episode of GarageBand Weekly. What I do suggest is that you head over. We've got 2 more shows coming up if you're watching live, or if you're watching on the replay, they're linked down below. Jade Star's show's coming right up. That's linked in the comments. If you jump to the comments of this one, there's a handy dandy link right there, and that'll take you straight over to Jade's show, where I will be there as well. Her new series, How To App. She's looking at Music Studio, the retro, the well before GarageBand Music Studio was making waves in mobile music creation. So join that one. And then in 30 minutes time, in half an hour, come on back here to the channel. We'll settle in, we'll get a coffee, and we'll be listening to your music live. So a bunch of stuff from the Studio Live Today community. Thanks everyone for being here. Have a wonderful weekend of creating, what is left of it for those that have some left. And I'll catch you on the channel back here in 30 minutes. Or if you're watching on the replay, check the description for links to the next show. Cheers, folks. Take care.